Welcome to my nightmare.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Man of Horror, my horror pod where I talk all things scary. Today is the mid-season finale for all my fellow spooky folks, and I just want to say thanks for going on this ride with me. It's been super dope so far, and with that, today is another, say it with me, mega episode. Yes, your boy's back with another one. Now, before I say what today's theme is, again, as I was saying, it's been a fun ride, and we've talked about everything from Final Girls and Alien movies to everything Scream and the Christmas episodes. I love horror, and you guys seem to be fucking with me, so I'm gonna keep coming back. After today, I'll do another mini episode in about 2 days, Friday or Saturday, and then Man of Horror will be on a mid-season break for 3 weeks, but we will be back on February 9th, so stay tuned. Now, for the Mecca episode theme. It's none other than Halloween. Everything Halloween. Today, I'll share my top 5 Halloween films and my top 5 Michael Myers kills. Then, I'll review and rate the H4O Halloween 40 Years Later trilogy, Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. So, definitely stick around for that.
Coming over tonight?
Same time, same place.
Can we make jack-o'-lanterns?
Sure.
Can we watch the monster movies?
Sure.
Can you read to me? Can we make popcorn?
Sure.
All right, now let's get started. In 5th place, we have Halloween 2. I love this one. I remember loving this one as a kid, and I still love it as an adult. I love the idea of it being a continuation of the same night. For me, the more story, the better. So I always wonder, with a lot of movies, like what happened next? Like, come on, I need more films. So, at least, with the good movies anyway. But, and that just depends on how it ends too. But this one, it worked for me. I love the setting of the hospital. I think this was the first film that made me creeped out by hospitals at night. Like the paranoia of, knocking everyone off while you're in your room and you coming out to this big empty hospital. Terrifying. This is the film I think that I know. It's the film that revealed Laurie being Michael's sister, that backstory. So definitely a classic in that regard. And then it also has some of my favorite kills in the franchise, but I'll share those later. In 4th place, Halloween H2O, 20 years later. This one came out during the 90s teen horror boom, and it definitely feels that way. Like, we have the super secluded setting, a big boarding school in the middle of nowhere during a holiday where everyone is gone. Perfect. With that meta feel to it, and then Laurie's character was perfect for this one as well. It made sense that she'd fake her death, and plus, that matches what happened in Halloween 4, by the way. But apparently, this wasn't canon to that, so yeah, stupid. Anyway, I love her paranoia, on this one. It just made sense that Halloween would be a fucked up time of year for her, and with the first two. With her being in the first two films and those being one night, this was the first film that we got to catch back up with her. So I think it was perfect. And, the cast was pretty good too. It was pretty stacked. Josh Hartnett, LL Cool J, Michelle Williams. And you know what? The opening scene in this one is one of my favorites too. Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt actually is in the opening scene, and it's pretty fucking wild. In 3rd place, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This was one of my favorites as a kid. I could watch it like anytime, but mostly watched it on Halloween. I think it was because, this time he went after a kid. And I love the character of Jamie. Danielle Harris was so good. She was able to carried the movie, in a sense, as the main protagonist, and she was just like such a baby scream queen. um, I remember this was when I was afraid of Michael because I was a kid, and it was like, oh shit, he could come for me too. And this one introduced the idea too that Lori died in a car crash and faked her death, which again could have worked, could have been canon to H2O, but whatever, I'll let it go. This is another one that has one of my favorite kills in the series too, but I'll share that later. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Michael's blatant fucking mask change in this one is so bad. Like, it's hideous. In this one and in number 5. Like, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. But hey, we all make mistakes. um oh, and then the ending in this one too, when she's like pretty much replicating Michael. So fire. In second place, Halloween 2018. I fucked with this one pretty heavy. It was good. It was a good return one to Lori. It was a good return to Michael. It was a good return to the town and to see where she had been. And now to see her as like this badass. And Halloween H2O still could have happened. You know what? Anyway. Jesus Christ. Um but yeah, it worked out for the character that she was in this film. I would have imagined after, 1, 2, and H2O that she would become that kind of person. And it's really smart. It's fun. I love the babysitter kill in this one. Like, it's when the kid, like, hey, there's somebody in my room, and it fucking turns out to be him really in the room. Like, that whole scene is just, I think, one of my favorites in this one. There's that, and then Doc. Well, no, I almost took one of my kills. I'll wait. um, I'll say the ending was really good too, though. I did like that, like how the daughter Karen, played the helpless victim because that was something that Lori taught her. Like she was raised as, raised in a sense to prepare for Michael. But that's the most that I'll say for that one now, just because I review it later. So, and now in first place, obviously the OG Halloween. This shit is a fucking classic, and I dare anybody to say different. I know I've talked about it on another list before, so I won't say much. But listen, it introduced us to so much in horror. The amazing score, Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, the town of Haddonfield, like all these things stuck. And it's been 40 years, and movies are still attempting to replicate the atmosphere that this film created. Wes Carpenter, thank you so much for this gift in horror. So, that was my Halloween order. Now, let's get into some kills. My top 5 Michael Myers kills, to be exact. Check it out. All right, all right. So in fifth place, as I mentioned, Halloween 2 has one of my favorite kills. Um, and that's with Nurse Karen. This was the hot tub kill, if you can remember. Now, I don't recall if she was the first death, but I know she was in like one of the first few. And this scene was perfect, man. Um I think this was like the first time I had seen something like this done. Like, like the whole drowning and like having skin fall off from being burned. It was like they basically kind of like redid one of the kills from the first movie, right? Like girls relaxing in a room waiting for love interest. But this time, they made a small change, well, several changes, but there was one small difference that I noticed. In the first movie, it was the girl who was sitting on the bed. I can't remember her name right now, but she was on the bed looking at Michael. And she knew he was coming. And in this one, Nurse Karen was looking away. You know what I'm saying? And then, Michael comes in and feels all on her neck and stuff at first, and it's all sensual for like 2 seconds, and then obviously he starts to drown her and turns up the water temperature, and fucking completely burns her fucking skin off. And like I said, I think this was the first time I had seen anything like that. So, chef's kiss. Fourth place, I bring you Rob's. It's from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Wesley the Bully. Now, this one was brutal as fuck, but I felt so conflicted because okay, murder bad, murder bad, murder bad. But I personally love when a bully gets like their karma, and not to say like karma was, not to say like this kid because he still was a kid and that his karma was death, but he was a little shit nonetheless. So, you don't necessarily feel bad for him as a character, but you feel bad for how insane Michael goes on him, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing about Rob Zombie films is that like the kills are always so intense that you can practically feel them. Like, I remember when I watched this one for the first time and I just felt like I was being stabbed. Like, I felt just, oh god damn it. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, if you've seen it then you understand. But in this one, in this kill specifically, I got a fucking headache. My back was aching because he was beating his ass with that log and it was just like fuck, you feel it. And when he just kind of like begs for him to stop, that's just like a moment right there. So in third place, another one from a film that I mentioned in my top 5, Brady from Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I love, like, one of my favorite horror things is the semi-hero and his death, like the character death of a semi-hero. Brady stood up, I was like, hey, oh, go, I got this, you guys go. And of course he doesn't fucking have it. It's Michael Myers, and he got his goddamn head crushed. And I believe this was Michael's first head crush, because he's done it about a good 2 or 3 times, I'm pretty sure. So I'm like certain that this was the first time, but nevertheless, still fucking effective. And it's like Brady also deserved it. Again, not trying to be a judge and like hand out karma and shit like that to people, but like literally 20 minutes before the scene, he was like basically cheating. So it was like, fuck him. In second place, another one from a mentioned film, Halloween 2018. Specifically, the kill is Dr. Sartain's kill. He was a villain, so he fucking deserved it. Now, he deserved it. Fuck that. He deserved it. And this is a kill I believe Michael's done before too. He basically like stomped the doctor's head into bits. And I remember when I first watched it, I clapped because like he thought he could control Mike. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, bitch, this is fucking Michael Myers. Don't nobody control him. I mean, I guess technically the devil, but still. I'll talk about him a little bit further in my review of the film though. So that leaves first place, and my all-time favorite kill is another one actually from 2018's Halloween. And side note, that movie is really just fire. Like they amazing job. But Oscar, the friend, his death scene is so good. It's really effective. I love it. The motion detector lights, the case of mistaken identity, the sad kid all alone, the friend just a few feet away, all of it. It was so many different cues that made it, again, effective. And the cherry on fucking top was the kill itself. Like, putting him through that iron fucking gate was just madness, like pure madness. Side note, the backyard they were in was supposed to be like, I guess, some sort of shortcut, but like, get out of my yard. Like, what the fuck? So that's kind of like sort of what he get for trespassing. I don't know. I'm feeling real judgmental today, I guess. I don't know. But that was my top 5 Michael Myers kills and my top 5 Halloween films. Now stick around for me to review the H4O 40 Years Later trilogy, Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Check it out.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Okay, so let's start with Halloween 2018. I love this movie. I know I said it like 3 times in this episode already, but I mean it. Um, to start, it did what a lot of recent films have done. The whole spiritual successor to the first film in the series while simultaneously ignoring the rest of the sequels thing. They did this. um, and with just in regards to like that whole new trope, I think Scream did it best because Scream 5 works in the full film fold and then also as like a spiritual sequel to Scream. But with this, with Halloween and the new trilogy, my only complaint, well, with this movie, I guess I'll say, I won't even say because I had other complaints. Um, but my only complaint with this one really is them removing Laurie and Michael as siblings. Like, it's fucking dumb. It didn't add to the story. And then the rest of the films, I think, could have still been canon for this. Like, think about it. There was Scream 4. Jamie was Laurie's first child, but she faked her death and abandoned her for her own protection. Changed her name, got away. Then years later, she had another daughter who was eventually taken away, which would be the daughter from this film, after she, spent years of, like, trying to quote-unquote train her. After she's taken away, Laurie decides to get herself together and eventually has a son and opens up the school. And this is, Halloween H2O. But while all that's happening in her life, Halloween 4, 5, and 6 happen simultaneously. Then, after having a son, like I said, Laurie opens up the school, all the shit that happens in Halloween H2O. We're going to ignore resurrections because we don't talk about resurrections. Nobody talks about resurrections. But anyway, and so that's the only thing that you would have to ignore. Then it hops back into this movie. So that could have worked, but whatever. And it's like I'll say, even if at the end, because I think about how Halloween H2O ended, or chopping off the guy's head, they could have kept a little plot from the beginning of Resurrections where she accidentally chops off the wrong guy's head, and then she gets off because obviously she didn't mean to. She thought it was fucking Michael Myers, and so they can use that story plot on why she ended up eventually secluding herself and why Josh Hartnett's character as her son isn't in the movie because he looked at her differently after, just the same kind of way as her daughter Karen in this one does. So then eventually she moves back to Haddonfield, and then this movie happens. So it could have all worked out. I think these motherfuckers were lazy. Anyway, the film was amazing though. The imagery and the opening scene is so dope. The checkerboarded recess area of the asylum was cool, and like part of like the part where like all the different patients start screaming and like tripping the fuck out is so intense, and then it just like hits with that opening cue card, and it again very effective. And I have to say, in this part, I started to suspect Sartan of doing some bullshit like already, because he was way too fucking calm when the podcasters were trying to like make Michael talk and show him the mask and shit. Like a real doctor would have been like, "Hey, okay, what the fuck are y'all doing? It's time to go." Um, Another thing that this film does really well, though, that I think the entire trilogy does, if I'm being honest, along with other films with, again, the whole spiritual sequel thing, is they do a lot of iconic reshots, of like scenes from the originals. And it's pretty effective. And one of my favorites from this one is the one with the crash bus and the patients just like walking around dazed and confused in the dark. They do it here again, and it looks so much better. It's updated, so it looks better in this one. And then this is just a good scene in general. It kicks off, one of the first kills in the movie, and like Michael kills a fucking kid, and I think they did that on purpose, or at least that's the first kill that we see. Because there's other people dead around, but like I think they showed that on purpose to let you know like Michael not fucking around this time, because he was not, and like he straight up said fuck these kids, like he basically smashes a kid's head into a fucking window, like it's crazy, and it's the first time he has killed a kid, but it's funny, like considering he chased a kid all throughout Halloween 4 and 5. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, it's something that he would have always done, but this is the first time we actually get a chance to see it, and yeah, it's crazy. And overall, like I just love the kills in this movie in general. They were fucking brutal. Like the gate kill, the babysitter kill, the kid kill, Dr. Sartain's kill. Like Michael came back and just wrecked shit. And then Laurie's character in this is like the most badass she's been in like any of the movies too, I think. Like I would say outside of this, Halloween H2O was the other time she was like, badass. But like this was really just like her beast mode movie. Um and it was just like I fucked with everything about her character in this, from the fortress booby trapped house to her I don't give a fuck attitude about preparing her family. Because like I remember there's a scene where she says to the granddaughter, if your mother being angry at me means she's ready for the horrors of this world, then I can live with that. And that's just perfect for her character. It all makes sense in the world, or in this world, for her character to be like that after 40 years, especially if she went through everything else in the other films. But whatever, that didn't happen. um Nevertheless, my favorite one of the trilogy. Shout out to Wes Carpenter himself again for reintroducing a new score. So amazing. I gave this one 3 out of 5. One for watchability. It's the most watchable of the three. It's the comeback, so of course. Another one for gore. It's fucking Michael Myers, so of course it gets gore. He doesn't have like the goriest kills of the horror legends, but he has some of the most creative and bloody ones. But in this one, there's really fun. It's a lot of blood, so he's gonna get it regardless. And lastly, one for kill creativity, because again, the gate kill. Like, come on, give it a watch if you haven't. Next up is Halloween Kills. I'll start with the opening flashback. I loved it. It introduced the idea of Michael encountering several people that night and the impact it had on them. So like that's the thing, with this trilogy. The first one, shows how it impacted Laurie's family and anyone associated with them. Kills is about how it impacted the town, and then ends deepens that impact. But like I'll get to that in a moment. With that though, I have to say the people of the town of Haddonfield are fucking dumb. Let's start there. Like they're literally rounding up the whole movie doing dumb shit. Like there's a plot in this, a plot point where there's a nice chunk of townspeople believing that they found Michael Myers and they stalk this man who isn't Michael. Like obviously, and it just ends terribly. The man is like way fucking shorter than Michael Myers for starters. Terrible. And then they just like did the whole "evil dies tonight" chant, which I get, but also wasn't effective considering they got the wrong fucking person. But yeah, aside from that though, this one has some of my favorite kills too. The opening kills with the firefighter squad, dog, amazing. Michael comes out the house like a fucking beast and like just demolishes a whole fucking unit. And then there's also the scene where he like kills this couple and lays the husband's body on the oh yeah, that's kills. Okay. Yeah, he lays the husband's body on the kitchen counter and just like starts stabbing the shit out of him with different knives. But then you realize that he's just testing fucking knives. Like, oh, which knife works better? Like insane. It's insane, man. Overall, there's wild ass kills in this everywhere. And I have to point out too, it was dope seeing Michael McDonald in this. I loved the Big John, Little John couple. They were super. They were cute. They were fun. But it was cool to see Michael McDonald. After Mad TV, or not seeing him since Mad TV or whatever. Well, he's probably done some things, but nothing that I can recall. So for me, it's just Mad TV. But I watch Mad TV all the time. So, um, and another point about the stupid ass townspeople, they like jump to Michael towards the end and then stopped. And y'all know what I always say. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Stump that motherfucker out. Like, what the fuck, people? What are you doing? Like, with that, it's like, you know, you're always like you leaving the door open for him to come fuck y'all up. And they totally left that bitch open, like wide open. Anyway, I gave this one 3 out of 5. 1 for watchability. It's very watchable. It's fun, despite feeling a bit aimless at points and wasting fucking Lori again. But still, worth the watch. Another star for gore because, you know, not the most insane kills, but just being stabbed and cut the fuck up is more than enough. Then the last one for kill count because Michael wraps up quite a few in this one, actually, you know, considering he starts the movie by taking out a fucking firefighter unit. So, yeah. I think it's the second best in the trilogy, which makes sense. But check it out. All right, so last one. And if you haven't seen it, you know why it's the worst in the fucking or if you have seen it rather, sorry. Then you know why it's the worst in the series. Halloween Ends. All right, so here's the thing about Ends. With Halloween Kills and how it ended, this is a terrible follow-up. It's like billed as a final showdown between Michael and Laurie, and he's in the fucking movie. Like Michael Myers is in the movie for like 20 minutes. Plot wise, he didn't even need to really be in it. Like it was just I don't know, and I hate to just like down art, you know. So it's like it would have honestly worked as a standalone film, but it doesn't work as the end of this specific trilogy's story. Now that's not to say, you know, that there aren't any redeeming qualities to it, you know. For example, the opening scene, fucking insane. I think it might be one of my favorite Halloween openings, like top 5, because it's wild, you know. It's an opening death scene that I don't even really want to spoil for you guys, but it's crazy and fuck the little kid that's in this scene too. He's a dick, you'll see. Um but like, you know, the rest of the films, there's some cool reshot nods or, you know, reshoots of iconic scenes in this one. So there's like a part with this one that I liked where Laurie sees like this kid Corey out of her window, the same way that she saw Michael in, you know, the first Halloween. So it's a pretty effective scene, but that actually brings me to the whole problem with the film, right? The plot is revolving around one kid's transition into basically another Michael Myers. The film like focuses on what Michael left behind in a way. Like that's what this one is, you know. And Corey's journey, like the main guy or whatever, Corey, his journey is interesting. You know, he has a weird ass mom and he's bullied by fucking band geeks, which side note is so weird to me. Like fuck bullies in general, right? But like are band geeks bullies now? So weird. Um but there's like a scene that I have to mention really quick too of him dancing in a bar with Laurie's granddaughter because they're like together, which is a side plot deal, whatever. And I have to say, I hate watching white people dance. Like, I'm sorry, y'all, but like, not all of y'all, but some of y'all, what the fuck is happening there? Um, anyways, though, you know, one thing they did in this trilogy was that they had some of the townspeople like or in this movie specifically, I guess, is had the townspeople blame Laurie for Michael's attack. And it's like, what the fuck? You know, she apparently like the gist is that she teased a patient and caused him to snap and it you know, that's like the way that they paint it. And it's annoying because I don't give a fuck what joke she said or, you know, said or did or whatever. It's he's a killer. Period. So but last thing I have to say, even though Michael's in it for 20 minutes, the final showdown, and I say that loosely with air quotes, is pretty good. They should have extended kills, honestly, and added the final showdown there, and that would have made more sense. And then made this all about Corey. Because it's like with the new Laurie that they introduced, I'd imagine if Michael killed her daughter, she'd rampage through Haddonfield. Like the Laurie that was in the last 2 films Like it just, God, I don't know. It's not what you're expecting going into this film at all. But again, final fight is pretty good. And I love how they had the town carry his body away. It was a pretty deep moment, and I think very effective. That was like the most, um, the biggest goodbye I've seen Michael get. So, I enjoyed that. So with that, I gave this 1 fucking star. I guess technically I could give it 2. One for no, I can't. No, I can't. I was gonna say another one for gore, but I can't do that because it's only Corey really killing, and there's only like 3 kills. So yeah, 1 goddamn star, and that's for watchability. Because again, you know what? It's not necessarily a bad film. It just doesn't work as a Halloween film slash final showdown. If they build it as, like I said, like literally, if they just put the final showdown and the other one with the people carrying Michael's body away, then they put Halloween ends, and then this was all about Corey's journey, then I think it would have been a better film. But with the expectation and everything going on, it doesn't work. So definitely still give it a watch if you are a Halloween fan, or just a horror fan in general. I always say, see for yourself.
So you got any idea how much blood jets out of a guy's neck when his throat's been slit?
So with that, guys, that was my review and ratings of the Halloween 40 Years Later trilogy, and my top 5 Michael kills and my top 5 Halloween films. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have been enjoying the season so far. This is going to be our break. I will be back in 3 weeks on February 9th. But until then, follow the official Instagram page for the pod, Man of Horror _podcast. And email me if there's any films that you want me to watch and review. Email me at trigger514@icloud.com. And until next time, stay spooky, folks. Peace.